Talking to Strangers is a book written by Malcolm Gladwell, which explores the idea of how people interact with each other, specifically when meeting someone for the first time. Through a deep exploration of real-life stories, Gladwell dives into the psychology of how people make snap judgments and assumptions when meeting someone new. He argues that when we interact with people we don't know, we often make assumptions and judgments that can lead us to make wrong decisions. Gladwell uses case studies and examples from history to explore the idea of default to truth, which is the idea that we should assume that people are telling the truth until proven otherwise. He argues that this is a better approach than the default to suspicion, which is the idea that we should be suspicious of people until we can prove that they are telling the truth. Gladwell also examines the idea of transparency, which is the idea that when we interact with people, we should be open and honest about who we are, and that we should be willing to share information about ourselves in order to create trust. He argues that this is a better approach than opacity, which is the idea that we should withhold information and remain mysterious. Gladwell then examines the idea of cognitive empathy, which is the idea that we should try to understand the perspective of the person we are interacting with, and to try to put ourselves in their shoes. He argues that this is a better approach than emotional empathy, which is the idea that we should try to feel the emotions of the other person. Gladwell's overall message is that when we interact with strangers, we should always strive to be open and honest, to be understanding, and to practice cognitive empathy. He argues that this approach will lead to better outcomes than if we assume the worst of people. That's it. Thank you so much for tuning in.